Krishna. Yesterday we learned a very special point. Mukund. Krishna's name Mukund has three meanings if you all remember. First meaning is the one who gives liberation. The one who can give us liberation. That person is called Mukunda. Bhagwan Krishna is Mukunda. Nobody else can give us liberation. Demigods cannot give us liberation. Only and only Krishna can give us liberation. But this liberation is for whom? Ordinary people, karmis, they want liberation. The second meaning of the word Mukunda is that person, those devotees who take liberation as very small thing and pray and take Bhagwan's Prem Anand as superior. This meaning applies to whom? Like Shukdev Goswami, Char Kumaras, Sanakadi, those who are Atma Ram Munijan. This definition of Mukunda applies to those devotees. Third definition applies to Braj Gopis, the one whose face is so soft and sweet like a beautiful lotus. These are the three different definitions of Mukunda. Now we will hear from further from this. Murari, another name for Krishna is Murari, like Mukunda is his name also, and Murari is also his name. Murari means the one who killed the demon whose name is Murari. Let's hear its pastime. Sri Jiv Goswami said in Vaman Puran, there is a pastime in Vaman Puran, a demon whose name was Mur. He, he was the son of Kashyap and Danu. Their son, his name was Mur. Kashyap had two wives. One is Aditi and Diti. From Kashyap and Aditi, all the demigods took birth, and Kashyap and Diti, all the demons took birth. All the demons came from them. Kashyap and Diti. So Kashyap's he had one more wife. Her name was Danu, and her son was Mur. Mur saw that between demigods and demons there was a war going on, and Moore is saying that all of my brothers, those who are demons, they are being killed. So he became very fearful, and he left that battlefield and he ran away, and he sat in a forest, and he performed great austerities to attract Lord Brahma. All these demons are very clever. They know to go to Vishnu. If I go to Vishnu, I will not get any boon. So they go to Brahma or Shiva to fulfill their desires. Like Hiranyakashipu, he went to he did he did two tough great austerities to impress Brahma. It's easy to impress Brahma and Shiva, but it's so difficult to impress Bhagwan, because Bhagwan will do analysis, and when he does analysis, then he cannot give them their material desires. So they don't go to Vishnu for their desires. They go to either Brahma or they go to Shiva. So Moore also performed very tough austerities to impress Lord Brahma, and due to that, Brahma got impressed, and he came in front of him. Oh, my son, ask me for some, blessings. So Moore said, if you are really happy with me, then give me this blessing that Whomsoever I touch with my palm, even if that person is eternal, still that person should die. I don't need any weapon to. No astra shastra, no weapon. Weapon is what? Gun? Gun is a weapon? Or a knife? Knife is also a weapon. Not required. He got such a blessing that just by touching with my palm, whomsoever I touch, that person should die. Even if that person got blessings to be eternal, still when I touch that person should be killed. Brahmaji said, Tathastu. Brahmaji doesn't do so much analysis. Hiranyakashipu, whatsoever he asks, Brahmaji gave him that as well. I should not die inside, I should not die outside, I should not die during that day, I should not die during the night. So he had so many conditions, Hiranyakashipu. Brahmaji gave him all those conditions. Shiva is also like that. Raman was doing austerities. Bef- Parvati said few days back, you know, we both live in isolation, we have no room, we have no privacy. It's not nice. She told this to Shiva. Please build a palace for me. Shiva said, okay, I fulfill all the desires of everyone. I'll fulfill your desire as well. So he built a palace for Parvati. So Ravan came to Shiva and he asked for a palace from Shiva. Shiva said, okay, you take it. Now again Parvati is thinking, I just got a house. Now he has given it to Ravan. He's such a great donor. He doesn't think so much. So Brahmaji said Tathastu means so it be, and he disappeared. And here Mur, after getting those blessings, that boon from Brahma, where he went? Sumeru Parvat. Few days back I told you about Sumeru Parvat. Surya Dev rotates, he does parikrama, circumambulation around Sumeru Parvat, Sumeru Hill. That's how our day ends and night comes, night ends and then day comes. So at Sumeru Parvat, Kinnar, Yaksh, Devta, demigods, he challenged them. Mur challenged them, all of them, to come and fight with me. If we get some power, then we take others for granted. Before that, he ran away from the battlefield. But now, after getting a boon from Brahma, he became powerful and now he's challenging everyone. If anyone is there to fight with me, please come and fight with me. So he's challenging Kinnaras, Gandharvas, demigods. Like Srila Bharati Maharaj used to say this pastime that according to Ram Leela, in reference to Ram Leela, Bali, he kidnapped his brother's Sugriv's wife. He was so bad. Bali. What he did? His own brother's wife, he kidnapped her. What is kidnapping? Kidnapping is what? Just taking someone is not kidnapping. Illegally. If you take someone illegally, that's called kidnapping. Like Ravan. Ravan kidnapped, right? Whom he kidnapped? Sita Devi. Sita Devi did not went by her own desire or will. She was kidnapped by Ravan. Ravan illegally kidnapped her, unlawful, against the law. Other side, Krishna also kidnapped. Krishna also kidnapped. Whom he kidnapped? Rukmani ji. So Ravan, what he did and what Krishna did and what Ravan did, they are not same. They are not. Rukmani, by her consent, by her desire, by her will, she went with Krishna. Rukmani gave this proposal to Krishna to please come and kidnap me. She wanted this. She wanted this. So there it was not planned. Rukmani desired and Krishna came and he kidnapped her. But Ravan Ravan planned it unlawfully. With whom? With his friends, demon friends, and he kidnapped Sita Devi. That's why just picking up someone and taking them doesn't mean kidnapping. It depends legally and illegally. What Krishna did was legal because there was a consent of Rukmani Devi. But Sita Devi did not want that. She did not want it. So it was illegal. Bali, who was a demon, he was a demon. He was very powerful. Bali got this boon. He got this boon that whosoever would come in front of me for a fight, that person's half energy would come to Bali, half power would come to Bali. Whosoever would fight with me, I will get the half potency, Adi Shakti, half potency of that person. So no one could come in front of him. And Bali would think that I have become so big. So what he did, he kidnapped his brother's wife. Now Sugriv became very disturbed. He prayed to Lord Ram, Prabhu, he's my own brother, Bali. But he's so wrong. What he did is not right. Lord Ram was also disturbed because even his wife was kidnapped. Sita Devi was kidnapped. Sugriv's wife was kidnapped. Ram said, "Okay, I'll help you. I will help you. You challenge Bali." Ramji gave this proposal to Sugriv that you go and challenge Bali. You bring him out. I will fight. You stay in the front and I'll fight from behind. Now, Sugriv became disturbed. How can I go? Because Bali is so powerful. Ramji said, don't worry. You just go and call him. Call him out. Challenge him for a fight. Sugriv very loudly he said, "Oh Bali, come out. Today I will not spare you." So Maharaji would speak like this actually. Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. "Today I will not spare you." So Bali said, "This sounds like my brother's voice." He picked up his weapon. His wife stopped him. "Tara, don't go. Don't go." Bali said, "Why? Who can stay in front of me? And Sugriv is my younger brother. What can he do of me?" Wife said, "Listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. You are, in anguish, but Sugriv knows your power. He knows your strength. Why is he challenging you? There is some trap. And if he's really challenging you, that means there is some backup plan behind this. So there is someone behind Sugriv. That's why Sugriv is challenging you like this, openly challenged. Bali said, "What do you think of me? I'm so strong. Don't take me so lightly." So his wife is trying to, like help him. Such a good wife. There are such nice good wives also who take care of their husband. Like Ravan's wife Mandodari. She was always giving proper teachings to Ravan. Nice teachings to Ravan. That Ram is Bhagwan. He's God. You return Sita Devi to him and forgive him. Ask for forgiveness. Ram would forgive you for all your offenses. He's very merciful. He's very kripalu, merciful, compassionate. But Ravan did not listen to her. He did not pay any attention to any of her words. Bali also did not listen to his wife, and he went to Sugriv. "Oh, Sugriv, you come and fight with me." And what happened? His wife was right. Behind Sugriv was Prabhu Ram, Raghav. Ram was behind Sugriv. The one who came in Raghukul Ram, Raghav. Sugriv disappeared from there. And then Ram fought with Bali. So his wife was right actually. And Ram, behind the tree, from the tree, killed Bali. So why I'm telling you all this? Till now, these demons, this demon Mur, he was so fearful. He went to the forest. He got blessings from Brahma. Whomsoever I touch, that person should die. But now he's challenging everyone. Is there anyone to fight with me? Because now he has a backup plan. He got some boon from Lord Brahma. But no one came to fight with Mur. No one got that courage. Because they all knew that Brahma, from the boon of Brahma, he can kill anyone and everyone. By the blessings of Brahma, he can kill us. So no one is coming in front of Mur to fight with him. So he became so proud. He became arrogant, Mur. And he started going everywhere to fight with everyone. He thought, I am God. In all the three planets, heaven, hell, heaven, earth, is there anyone to fight with me? He was challenging everyone. But no one dared to fight with him. With Mur. At last, he wanted to fight with Yamraj and he went to Yamlok. And he challenged Yamraj. He challenged Yamraj, you come and fight with me. And Yamraj is very humble. You are so powerful, Mur. I am so small in front of you. Yamraj is speaking like this. If you have the desire to fight, then you should fight with Vishnu. Only he, Vishnu, can make your this arrogance zero. He can break your arrogance. Apart from him, no one is the right candidate in three universes to fight with you. Three planets. Three low. Three low means three planets. I don't see anyone who is as good as Vishnu to fight with you. So Yamraj gave him this hint. Hearing this, listening to this, Mur became so happy. And he asked Brahmraj, where does Vishnu live? Where should I meet him? Yamraj smiled and he said, it's very difficult to search him. Uh, he lives everywhere actually. He's everywhere. But still, you can go to Vishnu Lok to meet him. Yamraj ji gave this Siddhant to Mur that Krishna is Sarvatra. That's why his name is Vishnu. Vishnu means who's Sarvyapi, who's everywhere. But if you want to fight with him, then you should go to Vishnu Lok. Easily you can meet him. Mur followed the path of Yamraj and he went to Yamlok. Sorry, Vishnu Lok. Vishnu Lok. Yamraj sent him there. Yamraj gave him the GPS. Take left, take right, then go straight, and then U turn, and then exit will be there. Then you come out from there. So GPS means he gave him the location of Vishnu, where you can meet him. Mur. So that was Vishnu Lok. So there he met Vishnu. Both were like in meeting in person. Bhagwan said, how you came here? Mur. Mur said, I want to fight with you. Combat services. I want to fight with you. Listening to him, Bhagwan said, Mur, you came to fight with me, but your heart is is like an old man, fearful, fearful like an old man. You are challenging me that you want to fight, but seeing you, I can understand, I can feel that you are old and you are fearful out of fear. So I don't fight with a fearful person. You go from here. So listening to Narayan's words, Moor laughed, atas, ha, like this. Moor did like this. And he put his hand on his chest. Where is my heart fearful? How can you say my heart is fearful? This is the difference when he went to Brahma, Shiva, and when they go to Bhagwan. Bhagwan is very clever. So in front of Bhagwan, you cannot be clever. Brahma is Jnani, he knows the Vedas, but he is very simple. He doesn't understand chalaki or cleverness. Shiva is also Bholanath. He's always chanting the names of Krishna. He's sitting in Bhagavad Katha. He sits in Bhagavad Katha. But Bhagwan Krishna is chalak, clever. Sir Vidya Visharat. All the skills of with knowledge is with Krishna. So Moor, oh, I I have to fight with him. A small boy has come to me. What should I fight with a small boy? So Krishna trapped him in his sweet talks. Oh, you are so fearful. You have become old. Why should I should fight with an old man? And then your heart is fearful. Krishna caught his weak point. Vishnu caught his weak point. And how is my heart fearful? He put his hand on his chest. And what happened? Explosion. The moment he put his hand on his chest, he exploded and he died. So Krishna doesn't need to fight too much. Just by his words, he can do so many things. Just by saying few words, Krishna uh, killed the demon called Mur. Like Bhasmasur, he was another demon who got a boon from Shiva. Whomsoever I put my hand like this on their head, they should be killed, they should be dead. Shiva said, okay, I have no problem. He gave that boon to him. He does not analyze anything. 1 minute, think and analyze. Shiva doesn't do that. Parvati was sitting next to Shiva. Oh, she's so beautiful. Let me kill Shiva and take Parvati. Let me kidnap Parvati. He was so demoniac. And Bhasmasur, Shiva is running, Bhasmasur is running behind Shiva. I gave this boon to you and now you want to kill me. Shiva ran so fast from there and he went to Shiva's life here was in danger. Who he gave that boon to Bhasmasur and now he is in trouble. Krishna is coming from the front. Krishna came in the form of a small Brahman. Oh, Bhasmasur, where are you running? I'm going to kill Shiva. Why? He gave me this boon. Which boon he gave you? Whomsoever I put my hand on their head, they will be dead. Krishna laughed so loudly. Whom are you believing? This Bholenath? Don't believe in his words. All the ghosts and witches are with him. How can he give you how can he give you that boon? He cannot give you. It's very simple. He cheated you. He lied to you. No, no, no. He gave me this boon. Why don't you try it on you? Why don't you try it on you? So Bhasmasur put his hand on his head and he exploded there only. So Bhagwan is very Kautaki. Kautaki means he is playful. But just by speaking few words, he would trap you. Seeing this, the demigods, they were in the airplane in the sky. They were started glorifying Bhagwan, and they started throwing petals on Bhagwan, and then they moved on to their personal departments. Since then, Sri Bhagwan's another name is kept Sri Murari, Krishna Murari. Krishna's another name is Murari, like we heard Mukund. Now, what is the connection between this and Venugit? Gopis, how do they know this all this? How do gopis know about Lord Ram? How do they know what is Bhagwan's Aishwarya? There's only one reason, one answer. Gopis heard all these pastimes from Purnamasi Yogmaya. Yogmaya narrates Bhagwan's another incarnation's pastimes. She narrates opulent pastimes of Krishna, Bhagwan to them to pacify their separation from Krishna. But even after listening to all this, gopis don't have this faith that Krishna is Bhagwan. They don't. Yogmaya says everything to them. Then one gopi said, "Oh, my friend Sakhi, our Krishna killed Mur demon, and he's so bold and so bold and strong like Narayan." Gopis are saying like this. Our Krishna is also like this. He's like Narayan, so bold, so strong, so bold, so powerful. That is why Manas Ganga, Yamuna rivers. So gopis are saying here, our Krishna is also like Narayan, very powerful like Narayan. This is the reason Manas Ganga and Yamuna Maharani, these rivers, they leave their husbands and they go near Krishna, and they embrace Krishna with their chest. And that is why their chastity is not lost. Their chastity towards their husband is not lost because they embrace Krishna and not anybody else. When gopis are speaking like this, what do they mean? What is the meaning? The meaning here is that we gopis, we think of shyness, society rules, regulations, patience, dharma. We can't leave all this. We can't leave all this. Gopis are saying when these rivers they embrace Krishna, their chastity is not lost. So even we, if we leave all patience, all social norms, even if we leave our husbands, and we serve Narayan, who's like Krishna, if we embrace him, then even us, we won't be at any fault. When rivers are not at fault, then how can we be at fault? How this is how gopis are speaking to each other. Another point is Krishna's gopis called him Murari. There's another reason for that. Why gopis called Krishna Murari? There's another meaning for that, and that meaning is like the this demon Mur, he would uh, disturb demigods, and they would always be disturbed by demon Mur. Gopis are saying that gopis heard all this from Yog Maya. So the demon Mur, he was always torturing demigods. So all the demigods, they were fed up with the torture of Mur. So Narayan, after killing this demon Mur, he made these demigods fearless. So when Mur was killed, all the demigods became peaceful, no tension. Gopis are thinking we will also. Gopis are thinking that Since childhood, gopis would play with Krishna. Since childhood, we would, play around with him. We were raised together. But it is very sad that this lust is always torturing us. This love in our heart. Gopis call their love for Krishna is actually lust, but actually it's not lust. It's pure love. We get lust in our heart. We get calm in our heart, but prem is in the heart of gopis. There's huge difference between these two. Calm means fulfilling your desires, personal desires, and prem means fulfilling the desires of your beloved. So gopis have no percentage of lust in their heart. For the desire of Bhagwan, gopis do everything. So here gopis are saying it is very sad that this lust always tortures us. Seeing this, that Murhar Mar, calm, it's a beautiful point here which is said. Gopis are saying, like Narayan killed demon Mur, similarly, Krishna is also not any less. He's as good and strong and powerful as Narayan. So why doesn't Krishna kill this lust in our heart? The lust we have in our heart. Krishna, why Krishna doesn't kill that lust? It means actually why Krishna doesn't come in front of us. This is what gopis are trying to say. Sri Narayan, the way he took. So here it is said that Narayan who made demigods fearless. So like Narayan killed what's his name? Mur. Even Krishna can kill the lust in our heart. Then the gopis can be peaceful. And then the Krishna's name would be Marari, not Murari. Narayan killed Murari, and Krishna kills our calm. And and Krishna, when he kills the lust in our heart, then his name would be Marari. Then we can be peaceful. But right now we can't be peaceful. So there's difference between Murari and Marari. Murari was killed by Narayan, and Murari means the lust in the heart of gopis. Actually, it's not lust, but they want Krishna to kill it. They're saying we have lust in our heart, and this should be killed by Krishna. So then his name would be what? His name would be Murari. Sorry, Marari. So four meanings of Murari are given in this scripture. Four meanings of Mur. What are those? Let's listen to them. Klesh, Santap, Kam Bhog, and Daitya. The meaning of the word Mur. Four meanings are there. Klesh, not clash. Clash is in English. Klesh, fighting, arguments, manmutav. Santap means crying, whining, disturbed. Kam Bhog, to fulfill your material desires, calm, and demons. The Mur means these four meanings. Four meanings of Mur, the word Mur. So Bhagwan killed Mur means he actually killed these four. That's why his name became Murari. Shinarayan, the way he Sri Narayan, the way he so Narayan killed Mur, that's why his name is Murari. So and Krishna is hankering for uh, the way Narayan killed Mur. Killing means Ari. Killing means Ari. That's why his name became Murari. Similarly, Krishna is he kills calm, lust. Krishna is the one who removes calm, lust from our heart. So his name became Kamari. This means if someone is disturbed of his calm and he enjoys the sense objects to pacify the if he serves Krishna, if he prays to Krishna, then Krishna would remove all their small problems and instead would give them prem. Let's hear it again. Shinarayan killed Mur, that's why his name is Murari. 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 Similarly, Krishna, he kills the calm in our heart. That's why his name became Kamari. So here it is said how we people of this world we have a deep, strong desire to do bhajan. Sorry, strong desire to do bhog, and this lust always disturbs us. Those who pray to Sri Krishna, so Krishna listens to their prayers, and all the lust of this world, Krishna kills it and takes it away, the lust from the devotee. And not just this, he also replaces that transcendental, converts to it to transcendental anger. Krishna does that. So that's why gopis here are saying, "Oh, my friend, see, oh, Sakhi, see this Mansi Ganga." Now, in this verse, they are speaking about rivers. So this Ganga, um, and his face, seeing their face, it can be understood that. So these rivers, they are flowing in such a way, Ganga Ji, Mansi Ganga. Seeing them, one can understand this clearly that in their heart, whatever lust was, whatever desires were present, Sri Krishna transformed that lust into prem. Krishna can do it. How he did that? By listening to Krishna's Venu Nath, the bumblebees, whirlpool. It is clear that his lust was uh, so that's why these rivers leave their husband, which is ocean, and they come near Krishna to embrace Krishna and offer him flowers at his feet. A lusty person by nature, a lusty person, um, if he gets a thing which can fulfill all of his desires, then immediately he would do that. Ask for so many things, but those who are transcendental, we should transcendental premi or lovers, divine couple, Sri Radha Krishna and Gopis. It's about them. Those who those who uh, we should prem, their reaction is completely different. If if a person who loves, in this world, take any lusty person, in front of him if some sense objects comes, then what happens? He becomes so restless and he starts enjoying them. But if a person who has vishuddha prem, transcendental prem, is completely opposite of that person. What happens in that love prem? If he gets any such situation in front of him, he 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 engages that object in his beloved. He doesn't desire to do sense gratification. Instead, he desires to serve others. This is the difference. Means to fulfill the manobhish of that person. So prem is service, not sense gratification. This is the difference. Lust is how? Very Ramani, very beautiful. But the end of lust is very painful, very disturbing. Material calm, material lust. The result of that is very painful and giving stress, distress. And how is prem, love? Externally, it looks very painful because you can't fulfill your desires. You have to fulfill the desires of that whom you love. So this requires sacrifice. It requires sacrifice, but the result of that prem is full of anand dayak. The one it gives anand, pleasure. That's why there is difference between lust and prem. The love of Yamuna and Mansi Ganga is very Vishuddh and soft. These rivers, this river's love is not actually lust, but it's transcendental. They, for Krishna's Preeti, they accept Dakshin Bhav and they embrace Krishna's chest. What do these rivers do? They only desire to give pleasure to Krishna. Here, gopis are actually speaking their bhav. They don't have this desire that we should embrace Krishna to feel happy myself. No. They want to make Krishna happy. Sometimes they accept submissive mood and embrace Krishna. But in such a situation, what Krishna does, he sees their submissive mood. Krishna intentionally that there should be something new present and I will enjoy. So intentionally, Krishna, unsubmissive mood, Krishna accepts it. He's nirvikar. Intentionally, he does it, and it doesn't bother him, because if Krishna does like rivers, actually, then what will happen? So, so love should be, prem should be simple. Variety would come when among lovers, one takes submissive mood and the other take arrogant mood. If both become submissive, then love will be there, but and if both become arrogant, even then it will not be nice. There won't be any pleasure, no anand. So Krishna sees these rivers, they have dakshin bhav, the mood of submissive. With that mood, they are embracing Krishna. And Krishna is showing as if, oh, I am not bothered, I don't care, like that. Instead, Krishna is full of anand, pleasure. He's liking it. but he's showing as Nirvikar intentionally because it has prem's variety. This is the nature of prem. They become shy actually. It's very beautiful point here. Krishna neglects them. Rivers come to and they embrace Krishna, but Krishna neglects them. Seeing this, rivers became very embarrassed. They became embarrassed. And they forget to embrace Krishna, and immediately they take a lotus and offer at his lotus feet. This is how rivers do. So Krishna neglected them. I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. So this becomes neglectful. Whatever you want to do, do. I'm not bothered. So if someone with out of love embraces you and you ignored him, I'm not concerned. So that time, what would you feel? Embarrassing. So even these rivers are feeling shy. Oh, we wanted to embrace him, but this Krishna is what? He's not even looking at us and he's ignoring us. So embarrassment, so embarrassing. They are at same time rivers reacted to patch up with that situation. The reaction was the soft waves in the ocean. Okay. So from earlier they were embracing Krishna, but now at they are offering flowers at the lotus feet of Krishna. Out of embarrassment, they are doing this. So now gopis are saying, what do these rivers do? They are out of shyness. They with the water they wash the lotus feet of Krishna. Means making charnamrit and lotuses are being offered at his lotus feet. Oh my friend Sakhi, Yamuna, Mansi Gang. By the behavior of Yamuna and Mansi Gangi, it is clear that they cannot leave their prajalpta and they cannot take shelter of devotees. Oh, my friend, did you see this Yamuna and Mansi Ganga's water? By their behavior, it seems that they are very full of shy, and they are looking at Krishna's feet again and again, and they are washing his lotus feet. Those Rashtra Shastra like Ujjwal Neelmani, which are composed by Rupa Goswami ji, according to as per that, Naika's got Vame Bhag. It's it's little difficult actually. Among heroines, this leftist mood means Vame Bhav. As per Ras Shastra, the hero, the Nayak, only he can approach the Naika. And Naika's heroine they want it, but externally they refuse. No, we cannot meet you, we cannot talk to you. And Nayak says, I want to meet you. And Naika says, no, no. Very difficult. So this is a culture, tradition, Rasa Shastras. tradition. This is a normal situation. This is this is a normal, natural situation. But sometimes when separation comes, in that separation mood, uh, so even the Naikas become submissive. But when separation comes, these Naikas also get submissive mood. And after Krishna's disappearance, in Krishna's separation, those gopis, they expressed the mood of submissiveness, which is sung by gopis in Gopi Geet. I cannot hear. Gopis are saying, Hey Krishna, your lotus feet, which are worshipped by Lord Brahma, and for earth, they are like ornaments, your jewelries. And meditating on those lotus feet, all the calamities they end when we focus on those lotus feet of Krishna. We desire to keep those feet on our chest. When Naika speak like this, means separation is over. This is in separation, they say this. And in meeting, these Naikas expressions, behavior changes. No, no, Sham Sundar, we don't want to meet you. You are not right. You are Krishna convinced so much to Radharani and she doesn't agree. And in separation, your feet we carry on our chest. Because of your lotus feet, the earth is very beautiful. But our Shri Krishna, he doesn't like the submissive mood. Oh Bhagwan, please give me your lotus feet. I want to worship your lotus feet. He doesn't like this. It's not for us, it's for gopis. Don't think like this. Don't do this. It's about gopis we are discussing here. Bhagwan doesn't like Dakshin Bhav, submissive mood. That's why sometimes they they see the submissive mood of gopis and he becomes sad, udasin. He doesn't like it when gopis say this. So that's why these gopis, what are they doing? They are seeing the rivers and they are seeing their bhav in these rivers, Yamuna Maharani and Masi Ganga, the Braj rivers. Gopis are imposing their moods, their bhavs in these rivers. This is the point here. Is this little tough for you? Maharaj is asking. I will I will explain this again. This is a very beautiful topic. So we discussed the meaning of the word Mukunda. Bhagwan's name is Murari. We heard even understood its meaning. This topic, next class. Again, I will repeat so that you can understand it properly. Next class will be on, not tomorrow. Not tomorrow is off because I'm not off. I have more work tomorrow. Two programs. Sunday would be Updeshamrit. Sachin Prabhu will teach us Updeshamrit, and I also have two programs on Sunday. So Monday I'm traveling. 3 days off. Then Tuesday is I have appointment, program also, appointment also. Until next notice. You all wait. We will send you the notification in the group. Then we will resume our katha. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hari Krishna. All glories to Sri Venugeet.